Hello everyone, and welcome to round one of what I'm going to stylize Yerand's FFA tournament. This round we've got Blues, PB, Steph, and Hi-Ho. And King Morgan has once again joined me.
Hello, Zulta. Yeah, we got strong players. I don't think we can afford to write off any of the newer guys. They definitely know their way around. So
yeah, I've seen Steph here and there, and he seems like he's competent. Hi-Ho, I haven't seen so much of. So
I've
it'll be interesting
played a
to
few
see
games.
that.
Yeah, I played a few games.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Hi-Ho has been competent enough, you think he can stand up to the likes of PB and Blues?
Yeah, he gave me a run for my money, so he's gonna he'll be fine.
Fair enough. Now, I gotta say, Blues is kind of who I'm listing as favorite for the tournament. For me, Blues in FFA, almost unmatched in my mind. Just absolutely dominant. But I'm wondering if his usual tournament nerves might get to him a little bit.
Yeah, I think Blues will do absolutely fine. Maybe slightly weaker in the first game, perhaps, but I'm sure he'll find his feet, and we'll be good. We're running without Masquerade, I see.
We are running without Masquerade, which is probably a bit of a mistake. And I blame all the players.
Yeah, well, too late to worry about it now.
More than that, I blame the fact that I've been switching versions and apparently it turned off my Masquerade setting, because I think that usually sticks around these days.
That is slightly annoying, isn't it?
I mean, we could have restarted with Masquerade, but nobody's complained about it, so we're not going to. That's what it comes down to.
Sounds quite fair to me. And PB's gone for a bold scientist. There's not a lot of water on the map. It's a bold strategy, I'm thinking.
Yeah, the scientist was the weird thing that I saw out of all these founds. Now, he does have good aluminum and iron for a scientist in a lot of ways. The aluminum, it's kind of awkward to have to take 2 tiles, but he did found late enough for that extra claim. But you're right, with the water situation on the map, it is quite awkward.
I think aluminium can be transferred later to solar panels, perhaps maybe even a wind turbine, slightly secondary, weaker one, but it's usable.
Yeah,
but
it is
I
usable.
Got to question the lack of easy access to water. It's not even if he's got ice. If he had ice, it would be different. But
well, and that's the thing, right? Is if we look, he could have taken aluminum that was only a stone's throw further away, basically, from his headquarters, and it could have been on ice. And I'm wondering if there would have been a lot more value in that on a map like this, where ice looks like it might be really, really relevant this game.
I think it would. Yeah, ice is. I would expect it to play a part, certainly for the people who aren't as close to the water area, because water does seem to be located in one sort of area, which PB can't really get any further away from it now, can he?
Yeah, absolutely. I do kind of like, we had our 2 scavengers founding early, and I think they had pretty good founds overall. We didn't really talk about them a whole lot, but obviously Steph, he got high and low carbon, and he's reasonably close to the water, and he's reasonably close to the silicon and aluminum. Like, nothing is out of reach for him, which I really like. And you got a similar thing going on for Hi-Ho in his little area. He's reasonably close to the resources that he needs, whereas you got Blues and PB, they're a bit further away. A little bit higher transport costs there.
It's not going to matter so much for Blues, him being the robotic player. Power's quite high, though, but even so, he's well placed, I would say. 2 geothermals taken, not built yet, but PB's moved in a couple of wind turbines to supplement his aluminium. It's a strange move from PB, I think.
Yeah, that's interesting. The wind turbines, they were nice and cheap, I think, when he was putting them down, at least. And you can see that silicon's already gotten pretty expensive.
Yeah, well, a lot of people have got glass production down, so that's going to use a fair bit of silicon. I mean, Hi-Ho's not bringing silicon in to support his glass, so he's going to drive the price up.
Right.
Steph moving into a couple of reactors to go with his farms. But again, he's only got a medium water coming in, so expect the price of water to rise, which won't do PB any good because he's got absolutely no water coming in and 2 farms.
Yeah, that is a bit of a risk, obviously, of going for that scientific location without access to any resource other than iron.
Yeah,
And
it's
he's
an
got
odd
this
move.
interesting little steel mill going on this game, which I don't completely hate because steel's managed to get pretty pricey, especially with blues trying to put down 2 geotherms, but it is interesting for the time being. Man,
Yeah.
mutinies everywhere.
Yeah. Blues tried to... I mean, Blues have got spy down, yet he still tried to mutiny.
Well, PB tried to go for the mutiny, I believe. Well, no, you're right. Blues went for Steph, and then Steph went for PB.
Yeah. Slightly... I don't know. Well, with the spy down as well, you got to question why Blues tried to mutiny it. Maybe put the spy down second. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe the spy came down after. Maybe it was just in that instant, you know, like as
Yeah.
Steph was dropping it, Blues hits it. That kind of timing can happen sometimes.
Certainly can. I mean, well, price of water, you see, it's pretty high now. It's making those farms, well, he's moved out the farms into reactors.
Man, Iho has not put up power yet this game. It's worth pointing out, and you'll see that that has cost him drastically. I mean, HQ4, before you get down any power was above 200. We had offices this game. That kind of line, that is not going to work very well. Already in D levels of debt, completely cut off from his black market bonus, riding that line right now.
Yeah, I think he's dropped down now to C. He's got 120k's worth of debt, but even so, bad move not going to power, I think. Like you say, with the offices in as well, it's a risky move, which doesn't often pay off in my experience.
Yeah, you got to have at least some power. Just secure yourself from kind of those fluctuations that can happen sometime. Dynamite auction is interesting. Steph, I was actually a little worried about Steph's debt at some point, but he committed very heavily to these wind turbines, which are positioned fantastically next to his base, by the way, so that he can rotate them very easily. Very, very, very strong position that Steph got for himself. So even though he is into B now, with that auction for 12,000, he's still in a position where he's going to be all right despite his early found, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's got power down, he's paying off his debt slowly, but he's still paying it off, so he's not in a bad position at all. PB moving into an extra single steel mill, I suppose he has to do something, doesn't he, But water's come down. I imagine Blues has been selling off some of his water, and also Steph seems to have water surplus there as well, which brought the price down, but it's not going to stay down, I don't think.
Man, Blue's getting a nice big boost off of this solar flare, I gotta say. Like, it's important to remember, solar flares, they're gonna double that water output for those solar condensers, and
yeah,
man, that was a lot of water in Blue's pocket that day.
That's it. He's happy with those, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I mean, already HQ5 with more cash on hand than anyone else right now is Blues. That's how much water he got off of that solar flare. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, he's sitting on good 550 units of water, which he's not selling them down though. He's going to keep those, stick it to PB a bit. I mean, PB's farms are, well, they're profitable, but barely.
Yeah, PB's farms, I mean, he's got some solar condensers to go with them, so once day comes, PB will start getting to collect something. Blue's finally, with the sell down, gonna go ahead and secure some of his own stock, it looks like, with that.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, Hilo as well. Hi-Ho has been forced to buy some of his stock just to defend its share price.
Yeah, it was a nice thing about your stock being cheap. It's nice and easy to buy, you know.
Well, it's a two-edged sword, though, isn't it? It's always nice to have cheap stock to buy, but if you can avoid being in that position,
yeah, you'd rather just not spend the money at all, wouldn't you?
Exactly, yeah. You'd be rather profiting off somebody else's debt, if you possibly could. Get some power down, make the money while the price is high, because we all know towards the end or middle of the game, power price is going to die.
Yeah, speaking of.
Yeah, it's dead now.
No big surprise there, though. I mean, oh, that's interesting.
That's an interesting position, that Pleasure Dome, and there's holograms as well. I mean, I'd be quite tempted to take the Pleasure Dome and then stick a sneaky Offworld in there a little bit later on.
Yeah, you could give that a shot. I mean, for now, even if it's in a bad position, it is at least uncontested and power is cheap. So it's still, 9,000. I think that's a deal on that one. Like, that's still a claim.
That's a steal.
Yeah.
I mean, like you say, it's a claim for 9,000 at the very worst. It's very much worth having. I'm surprised the other players didn't push it, bid a little bit more and push it a bit higher, but...
I mean, you can even just put an optimization center there, engineering lab, upgrade lab. I really enjoyed Yerand's advanced building guide, by the way.
I'm yet to check that out.
You should look at the optimization center section. It was pretty creative and good. I liked it. Everybody should go and look at that in between games today. Go check out that guide from Yerand. It was solid.
I'm seeing in a lot of games now, you have to move into an optimization center if you're playing 4-player FFA. It's pretty much default now.
PB, getting aggressive. He's going to start the stock buying this game. He doesn't have enough to finish it on his own, though.
He's probably hoping a couple of other players are going to jump in and give him a hand.
Yeah, that's likely what he was looking for. Trying to find something to do this game that wasn't upgrading with steel so expensive.
Yeah.
Okay. Mutiny dropped on the patent lab.
I think Steph should be able to defend himself.
Yeah, I think Steph is going to be okay here. Hi-ho, trying to cause a problem.
He's nearly there, 26 to 27. Go on, he's got it. Go on.
Yeah,
there
Blues isn't really looking to do anything about this. He's just kind of letting all of it happen. PB's going to start selling out immediately. While Blues is busy in his corner just teching up, being HQ5, not caring about what everybody else is up to.
That's it. Blues is quite happy to let them get on with it, I think.
Yeah.
He's stockpiling a lot of steel, is Blues, and he's moved back in of glass, so I imagine we're going to see an Offworld coming down from him at some point soon.
Yeah, it feels like Offworlds are on the way. I also like just the steel stockpile when you know that the other steel user this game hasn't gotten to HQ5 yet, which PB only just now did. So you kind of just make sure you leave that price high for them. Make sure they have to spend all that expensive steel, maybe drive the price up further, then you can go ahead and sell down. It's always important to watch those upgrades.
Yeah, the price of steel as well being so high, it's nice little nest egg for him.
Absolutely. You got to be careful though, because it's possible that PB will just start. I mean, PB's auto selling that, and once he's got his buildings down, he'll be done using it for a while. So you can see Blues already let go of a couple hundred. Yeah. And here comes the Offworld.
Expected, I think. I mean, food is launching at $600 a launch, so that's a pretty significant pile of cash. If you can get a couple of Offworlds running, you're going to be in a very good position to move into the late game.
Absolutely.
PB there taking teleportation, which...
He's a scientist. I mean, it's hard to argue with.
Exactly. I don't know if it's going to do him a lot of good. Well, certainly not from the fuel costs. I mean, it's going to be very useful because his claims are spread around. He's got these chemical labs down south. He's got his water up the top. So it's
Yeah, it is a little questionable, but at least it makes him pirate resistant, which is always... It just feels better to not have to worry about pirates.
Oh, definitely. And it means he can use his claims a little bit more effectively as well, I think.
Absolutely. It's worth pointing out at this point, by the way, that Blues is the only one who's managed to actually use an optimization center at all. He's got water, food, steel, chems, and glass. Steph has one down, but it hasn't been seeing much use, and Hi-Ho still in his corner just trying not to stay in D levels of debt this game.
Yeah, he's just trying to keep his head above water, isn't he, at the moment?
Yeah, struggling a bit on that front, it seems. And man, everybody's done a nice job knocking this food price down for Blues, who's just going to be launching that for 56k profits. Only 22 seconds away from that first launch going off.
That's pretty good. That's going to be a very good move for him, I think. If he can get a second one down as well, he's going to be in a very, very strong position. Although he probably wants to start buying some of his shares, because the other players will soon realise that he's launching food, even though Blues has got a massive stockpile of food.
Yeah, I mean, that food price isn't moving. I'm kind of surprised Blues is actually still in food production at the moment instead of moving to something like perhaps electronics, maybe just some reactors with that water. He's got such a massive stockpile of food. That price isn't really moving on him anytime soon based off of just these launches.
No. No, he's not going to affect the price of food, is he? But other people may. Anyway, he's got Patent Lab going up, and then he's also... That's got to be an Offworld, isn't it? Yeah, that's an Offworld coming up. So he's going to have 2 Offworld markets. Loads of food in stock. He's very well positioned.
Feeling pretty secure on the holograms this game. I'm a little disappointed by the lack of the use of the network virus, though, this game. 2K for that right now. There are some interesting things you can do with that. Even just hitting something like the solar condensers and the farms for Blues. You start checking for holograms. You start making sure that he's going to stay in that less profitable building, perhaps. Oh, well, somebody's paying attention. Who was that? Steph. Spotting out the Offworld as it's building, but not done yet.
Well, Steph's got a spy down, so he can see that.
Man, as I start talking about the network virus, finally we start seeing him rain down. Hi-Ho and PB both hitting Steph over there. They're worried about Steph, where Blues is the one who seems to be running away with this game right now.
Well, it's quite odd, isn't it? I mean, I think a lot of people would identify Blues as their strongest competitor, and they'd be wanting to do something about him, I would have thought. Certainly I would be targeting Blues as much as I possibly could if I was in the game.
I mean, even Blues is targeting Blues right now. Make sure to get that power surge down on the off-world market so that Steph isn't going to get any benefit out of having stolen that.
Yeah, I can see why he did that.
Oh, it's totally sensible.
Definitely, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's painful to do, but, you know, it does have to be done.
Well, I mean, what else was he losing when he froze that? Like one electronics factory that actually had value, and then a whole bunch of buildings that don't have any value at all. So, it hurts a little bit, but it's like, whatever. Just making sure.
Yeah. Sensible. It's an underused tactic, I think. I've not seen many people do that. I think they should start doing that a bit more.
Yeah, I do want to point out, by the way, that PB's Pleasure Dome is now pulling in $204 a second and is still uncontested. You know.
Nice little income for him, isn't it? It's paid for itself probably 3 or 4 times over at least.
Yeah, at least. I mean, he spent $9,000 debt on that, and if we just go ahead and check over here. Let's see, entertainment revenue, $81,000. So, 9 times over.
Wow.
That's how many times that's paid for itself.
Well, you do have to subtract the power cost from that, though, don't you?
Whatever. They've been mostly negligible. Besides, PB's running on perpetual motion at that, so... Yeah, we can go ahead and look at patents. We haven't looked at them much. And you might notice that they're all yellow, except for Cold Fusion and Nanotech.
Wow. PB is,
He's been busy
he's taken advantage of the patent lab, isn't he? Without a doubt.
Yeah, Blues, I don't know if he ever got into one or if the Cold Fusion was on the back. I think he had a patent lab for me a short period of time, but PB just saying, I'm a scientist and I like patents. Let's do this.
I was just about to point out, have you seen Hi-Ho's off-world markets? Holograms and goons. Just sitting there waiting for a power surge to come down and kill it for 80 seconds.
Well, sometimes, honestly, sometimes you're so far behind that you kind of just have to make the risky move and hope that people ignore you and go after the big scary guys. I've been in that spot before where it's like, I can't afford anything, because hologram 50k, Goon Squad 70. What choice do you have? You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally agree, but it's a bold move. And it never really pays off. Not for me, anyway.
No.
Blues is
just
taking his off-world back.
Now let's go ahead and take a look over there. Network virus did land on the hologram at some point. So everybody should know about that off-world.
Yeah, I think a lot of people probably realise the fact that it's been going backwards and forwards, that there's something there of interest.
Yeah, but no attention put on the other off-world at this point. I mean, that is a lot of steel production. Now, steel still looks quite valuable, so maybe it's reasonable to think Blues would have, 6 steel mills down, but...
Knowing Blues, I would have... well, I expect the other players would have spied out his land a little bit better than they have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spies are still cheap. Really cheap.
Yeah, 14,000 for spies. I would definitely throw one down in that plot of Blues, personally, I think.
Yeah, just to keep an eye out, see what's going on.
This whole time, though, Blues has gotten himself a pretty massive lead. I mean, all of his own stock purchased. He's going after PB now, which makes a lot of sense. PB's on a lot of Offworlds at the moment. He's got 2 going. And then a third taken away. And it's just... And all those patents, too, right?
That's it, yeah. Yeah, PB's in a good position, so he's probably... I would imagine Blues would consider PB to be his strongest competitor at this point, so it's understandable he's going after him. The other 2 being in B debt as well, they're not as much as a threat.
Yeah, B debt makes them less threatening. No Pleasure Dome for them, that's been pulling in pretty good cash the whole time. No double Offworld for either of them, I believe. So PB is just pretty much the obvious choice when you're in such a dominant position this game, because Blues really is. He's been so far ahead. Well, ever since that solar flared water, quite frankly.
That's it. Well, I think the other players have let him get away with a lot as well. I mean, considering we're not playing Masquerade, I'm very surprised a lot more has been raining down on him for the black market effects.
Well, they're playing the way they're playing. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, spies, maybe... I think they just didn't realize exactly how far behind they were, that they needed to be watching for off-world markets and the like so much sooner, because I think that nobody realized when this first off-world market went down. I mean, steel price didn't budge because Blues had 700 of that. Blues had a bunch of electronics, so that price barely moved, and the glass price was something nobody was really paying attention to at that stage of the game. So I think the off-world market just went completely unnoticed.
Yeah, it's my policy though, if Blues is in the game, to make sure I'm very up together with exactly what he's doing, because he's definitely going to be one of the most threatening players. PB here, I think, is hacking electronics. He's got a big stockpile that he's not selling down at the moment, but he does have a hacker array. Or does he have a hacker array? Is that a hacker array? No, it's pretending to be a hacker array.
I do want to point out that Hi-Ho has managed to get a reasonable amount of cash together, so that he is actually starting to try and turn himself into a bit of a threat. Blues is still looking for this PB buy, which I think he's going to get to, but PB, he's fighting hard to try and stay in this game. Still needs a good 400,000 more, though, I think, to close it out.
Well, Hi-Ho there's gone into a second off-world, so he's got 2 of them running at the moment. Oh, he's decided to go after Steph. That's an interesting move.
That decision.
No, I would have probably hung on and see if I could buy either Blues or PB and snap up half of them. Ideally, half of Blues, as he's got the 2 off-worlds.
Well, PB has 2 off-worlds as well. It's important to remember. He's got 1 over near the neutral and then 1 at his base.
Oh, one at the colony. I see.
All right, finally Blues is going to manage to get that PB kill. PB trying to stay in this game, but it just wasn't going to happen. So I don't like the moves between Hi-Ho and Steph right now, because when you're behind and like player 1 is killing player 2 and then your player 3 killing player 4, well, now you're just in a position where you're against 1 and 2 as 3 and 4. And that's almost never going to work, right?
No, you got to go after the leader.
You need an ally, not a competitor at this stage of the game, is what I'd have to say. And so...
Yeah. Even a lot of the top players, though, they don't play it that way.
It is a difficult thing to do, especially trusting someone that they're not going to stab you in the back while you're busy dealing with somebody else. Oh,
exactly. It's pretty attractive. I mean, you can see why Steph has got all those farms down.
Yeah, I think this one is basically a foregone conclusion still. We've got Blues against Hi-Ho. Blues at $91,000. Hi-Ho with an awful lot of cash, but you can see just the stock price difference here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's. I mean, they're about equal at the moment, but Blues' superior stock price is definitely going to give him the edge. I would expect him to clean the game up reasonably quickly.
Yeah, that does seem like something that's going to have to happen. Was there? Okay, there was a dynamite auction at some point while I was busy dealing with other things. Somebody picked up dynamite and managed to hit. Oh, I almost had it, and then it scrolled on me. Come back here. That was targeted. Where's the purchase? Give it to me.
Pirates. I hate those
I can't find it. I can't find the dynamite buy. I had it for a moment. I thought, no, that's targeted again. Whatever. Look, I could have just checked the targeted. Hang on. I wanted to know how much it went for, but that's fine.
Oh yeah, I can't remember. I don't think it was a huge
Steph that hit him though.
It hit one of the Offworlds, didn't it?
Yeah, it hit Hi-Ho's Offworld, which I think was a really big deal moving into this late stage of the game. Having to repair that's potentially so much money gone. Obviously, with Carbon this cheap, that's not a huge deal, but still so much time lost in launching. Hi-Ho calls the GG. Blues is going to take the game. Day 10, hour 14 and 10 minutes. Blues cleans up our round 1 match here. No big surprise, I gotta say.
No. PB with his silly lack of water move just made it easy for Blues to overtake him.
Yeah, he tried to fight back into that pretty effectively, and I thought he did a reasonably good job, but unfortunately, he just wasn't really benefiting from one aspect of his faction. And even with almost complete control of the other, it wasn't enough to keep him in this game.
Well, no, he had to use his extra claims to get water. I mean, he has to play a scientific in an expansive way, which certainly life support way, and it just didn't work for him.
Yeah, just did not work out at all. That's exactly right. And so Blues takes game number 1.